Hey, hello. Welcome to another episode of the Sound Good Podcast. I'm your host, Michael.
One time I annoyed everybody around me by talking about how we're all going to die anyway, and it doesn't really matter. Shit. I'm Micah. Hi. I lost it.
Perfect. Man, these intros do just keep getting better and better. I think we should just do like 30 minutes worth of intros. What do you think?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah? All right, cool.
I am a pond. You wanted an ocean.
Oh boy. Anyway,
yikes. Okay. Me without you.
Big yike. Anyway, today on today's episode, we're going to be discussing the Philadelphia, Pennsylvania-based post-hardcore spoken word music act Me Without You and their album from October of 2018 titled, well, it's actually Untitled. It's their Untitled LP.
How am I supposed to look it up?
You go to our episode of our top 10 albums of 2018, and then you listen specifically to when I talked about it, and then you just go into the description and talk about it, click the link, and boom, you've already heard this episode. Oops, and I hit my microphone. Fantastic. This is all staying in. I am done editing these episodes. Anyway, so yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about today. Post-hardcore band Me Without You's latest album, the Untitled LP. And of course, we are going to bore you with some music news beforehand. So to start off,
when's the new Tool album coming out?
What's that?
When's the new Tool album coming out?
Oh, you're making me start. Nice.
When's it coming out?
Nice. You passed it on to me before I was even done.
I just figured you would know.
God damn it! This is why I love you, Micah. Okay, yeah. So to start off with the boring snooze fest of snooze fest. Fantastic.
Well, I thought we just opened with the not news before we got into the news.
True. Anyway, Maynard Keenan says the new Tool album. Remember how last time we talked about this, he kind of just said no, it wasn't coming out.
I don't remember because it wasn't part of the news.
True. Well, now he changed his tune, and he said that the new Tool album is actually going to be coming out sometime between May and June. Or was it July? Did I say July? Who knows anymore,
Maynard June Keenan?
There you go. Who knows, man? I am very sleep deprived. This episode is going to be an absolute train wreck, and I cannot wait for people to complain about the quality. So yeah, there's the Tool news at least.
I guess what's your first news?
Yeah, my first actual piece of news is Law Dispute actually put out another single from their upcoming album Panorama, which is out in March.
Nice.
The new single they put out was called Rhodonite. How do you pronounce that? Rock. I don't know. It's a crystal name. Rhodonite and Grief.
I don't know.
It's pretty good. It's hard to give a full review of it, like a full recommendation of it after only hearing it like once or twice. But if you like Law Dispute and if you are a fan of what you've heard so far on the album that is coming out again in March called Panorama, you will probably enjoy this track a lot. So,
Lot Dispute.
That is. God, we are just compounding on making this the worst episode. I am so down for it. All right, my last final third piece of news.
Better not be one of mine.
And then before I pass it off to you, it's definitely not one of yours. This is about a Canadian post-hardcore band, Alexis on Fire, or Alex is on Fire, if you just don't know how to pronounce it.
I think that's what I thought it was.
I think it's Alexis on Fire. I'm pretty sure it's Alexis on Fire. I'm almost positive I'm probably wrong, though. So, hey, if I'm wrong, go ahead and just comment on this. Telling me how stupid and how wrong I am.
If you're the one on fire, let us know.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. But yeah, they put out a new track on the 15th of February called Familiar Drugs. It's on, you can stream it. You can pre-order the 7-inch single, I guess, for it. I don't know why you would. This is the disappointing news because I did not like it. But
damn,
it doesn't sound really anything like their older stuff. Dallas Green's voice is like significantly less interesting in this track, and it just sounds kind of like a radio butt rock metal track, unfortunately.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really sad to see, especially because their last album came out like 9 or 10 years ago. So it's really bad that their comeback single is not that great. But I will.
I mean, they're out of practice. It's a little more.
Yeah, right.
I will hold
full judgment, though. I will hold full judgment until I hear or see an album. Mm-hmm. So maybe it sounds better in context. Who knows, man?
I don't know.
All I know, as a single, not a fan. Doesn't really sound like any of their older stuff. If you're an old school Alexis on Fire fan, I don't know if you'll like it. However, give it a try, give it a check out, listen to it, give Alexis on Fire some clicks, man. They are fantastic people, regardless of whether or not this new song sucks.
Yeah, so, I don't know. I feel like any song should sound good standalone. Honestly, I don't know.
I agree. I don't know. I'm trying to.
I think an experience. Yeah, I know. I think some experience will be elevated being in context, but I think that if you listen to it standalone, it probably should not be
right
disappointing.
But yeah, so anyway, that's my news load. I blew it all right there. So you go ahead and blow yours now.
Oh yeah, we're taking turns. So I guess, yeah, and speaking of giving bands benefit of the doubt, I did check out the new Fallujah single after they put out Ultraviolet, which I was not a fan of because it just sounded like generic metalcore for the most part, which is a huge leap the other direction from what they've been as a band for the last like over a decade.
15 years?
Yeah. But the new song's called Dopamine, and it's all right. It's still just really jarring to hear the vocals be an entire like vocal register higher than what they're usually known for.
So is it still screaming though? Because I straight up like have not listened to Fallujah. Like,
so before it was really like low guttural, just death metal, but like
more deathcore death metal,
very sustained, like really low and sustained because they were more atmospheric. But now it's like very high pitched screams, which is just totally different than anything they've ever done, and I don't know that it's just an entirely different genre. And,
sure,
but
yeah, genre switches are always hard with bands.
I think there is
with, like long histories. Hey, kind of like Alexis on Fire. Ooh, sorry, I'll stop talking about it.
They still have some elements musically, but also I feel like they're trying to switch a little bit of how they write to match his voice, and so I think that also comes with like the genre switch. But I mean,
sure.
The next album after this, I'm going to be really concerned about because I do know that the guitarist left the band already, and now that like the album's done being recorded, and he was one of the last founding members.
Ugh. That's unfortunate. Oh, so wait. So you're telling me that no member is an original member anymore?
Once they start touring, no. But on this album, yes.
Nice. That's
I'm
always.
Pretty sure it is. I might have to double check.
That's always hype. That's always
hype.
Yeah.
And then, so I guess to rescind what we talked about last episode, because hey, I was wrong. Boop boop. Reset the clock. That was not a album or comic announcement. Coheed, Coheed were teasing the artwork for their upcoming tour called the Unheavenly Skye tour. Which, if you're smart, you know that's because they're touring with Mastodon.
Woo!
And they're fucking playing "Crack the Skye" in its entirety, which is
dude. Honestly. I am so happy. I jumped on tickets immediately for that because they're surprisingly coming. You know, there's but nobody else knows. They're surprisingly coming to like the next town over. Yeah, of course. Yeah, you're gonna go there too.
Yeah. So I got my
unbelievably hyped for that.
It's co-headlining tour where they're gonna fucking play "Crack the Skye" like shit.
Oh my
Every time I die is gonna be opening.
Coheed.
But I don't know about that.
Not a really big fan of Every Time I Die. But
what kind of music are they? Are they metalcore?
Yeah, kind of.
That's weird.
I don't know. I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of them. I'm not gonna like.
I haven't really listened to them.
Try and not talk shit about them too much because I'm not very versed in their music. But what I've heard, I am. Not a fan
fair.
Of.
But yeah, like 10 minutes after I got onto the tickets for the Kansas show, since that's closer to me, and I figured none of my friends are gonna drive out to that since they'll be in Iowa. I got like a front row, like dead center of the stage, stare at Claudio's dick, or I guess Troy's dick also. Ticket.
Is Troy the one who always stands in the center? I assume that would be that would be Brent's spot.
No, Brent's usually like right side.
No,
stage.
Right?
I guess stage left. I guess. Right side
Weird.
for the audience, but
I don't know.
Yeah, and I got like the platinum ticket also, so I'm gonna get to see like an acoustic set. Well, it's one song acoustic backstage prior, and
before it's Ghost.
That'd
be a bummer, right?
I'll get a useless cassette tape of the demos for Vaxxas. That'll be great.
Hell yeah.
And guess who else announced a tour, Michael?
Who?
Guess. Foxine.
I don't want to guess. What? Oh yeah, that's right. With Now, right?
No, it was Daddy Issues.
I thought they were with Now also.
Maybe it's a world tour.
I think
that they announced.
Yeah, I'm almost positive that's with Now also. If I'm wrong, whatever, ignore me. But I think they announced that tour is like they're like I don't know if they're co-headlining or not, but I'm pretty sure that tour is like foxing Now and Daddy Issues.
Nice.
But
okay.
yeah, the only reason I'm saying it is like because I recognize the name Now as the old band Tankard, Jess from Tankard was in. That's the band she was the guitar player in for a while. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, so, but they're not coming nearby the Midwest at all. They'll be in Denver, but
nice
but yeah, good for them. They're going to like Australia, the UK, and Europe, and so that's neat for them. Yeah, they can actually sing near my God.
That's actually hype. That's so hype.
And the other languages.
Oh, dude. Oh,
what if he did that?
So cool. Oh my God.
Because he knows how to do it.
Oh my God, that would be so cool. Like, I can't imagine what it would be like to be an international fan like that and then have them come to your country and then sing that song in your language. That would be that would actually blow my mind. I am very like I don't want to say envious, but I'm very like happy for international fans who get to experience that.
I was gonna say technically we did hear that already.
Yeah. I'm just experiencing it live would be completely different. Like
no. I mean, for us at least, we did hear it in our native tongue live already.
Yeah.
Or I did. I don't remember if you saw them on that tour.
Yeah. No, I definitely did.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I definitely did.
And then my last little guy, my little boy, is I'd be interested to talk about on the show because I never have listened to a full album by them. Children of Bodom have been advertising their new album that's going to come out March 8th. Look, I know, but like I've been curious.
Oh God, why?
Because they've been around a long time, and I'd be
cover.
Interested to see where they are.
Just look up their cover of "Looking Out My Back Door" by CCR, and that's all you need from them.
Well, I've heard their "Oops, I Did It Again" cover too, though.
Yikes! I forgot they had that.
But their 10th album "Hexed" will be out March 8th, and I might force you to listen to that with me, so we can either like complain or.
Okay, you know what? That's fair. I do like complaining.
Or either complain or just have a very like flaccid episode where we don't have anything to say. It'd be fun.
For sure.
We'll find out in the month.
Can't wait.
Anyway, that's all I got. So let's.
Sweet. That's it for the news.
Well, you hear that transition?
Oh wow. Well, hold on. Wait.
Hey, Michael, introduce that album.
All right, so the album we're going to be talking about, like I mentioned in the intro, is the newest Me Without You album from Run for Cover Records. It is titled Untitled.
I thought you fucked up speaking there, and I thought you were going to be the newest Me Without You from Me Without You.
Nah.
Run for Cover Records.
Run for Cover Records.
When it come out?
It came out October 5th of 2018, and it actually...
But that was like 5 months ago.
Shut up. Actually, I'm pretty sure it actually released a week early on their Bandcamp. I believe that was a thing.
So that was more than 5 months ago.
Yeah, whatever.
Sorry.
Who cares anymore, dude? Who cares anymore?
We have rules on this podcast. It has to be recent.
Since when? We're a very, very professional podcast, and we don't screw around. But anyway,
family-friendly Christian.
But anyway, if you've been listening to the show at all, if you listen to our top 10 of 2018 episode, you will remember, hopefully, that I mentioned that this is in my top 10 albums of 2018. I do believe it is mine. I do believe it is a very good record from this band. It is their, I want to say, 7th album? Yeah, 7th album. It is their 7th full length since 2002. So that's pretty that's pretty hype.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
for their style.
Yeah, right.
I'm surprised. Like, I'm assuming they're successful then.
Oh yeah, I mean they're fairly popular. I would put them out there up there with like La Dispute level of popularity, but
like kind of obscure, but also extremely popular within their genre.
Yeah. They're very niche and very dedicated niche fans.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like Between the Buried and Me.
Sure.
Anyway,
reset the counter. All right. Hey, while we're on counters, I know we started the review already, but do you have the number for me?
I guess it depends how fast my SSD, where it's been 1,180 days since Brian Posehn blocked Michael on Twitter, which is really weird.
Unfairly. Anyway.
No one remembers why. Anyway.
So anyway, that tangent existed.
You should edit that.
Yeah, nah. Yeah, no, so this album, like I mentioned, post-hardcore band, they do a lot of spoken word of their music as well, which is kind of weird if you're not used
really
to.
On this album, I felt.
Yeah, they actually did.
It leaned more on
less.
Singing.
They did do a lot less of it in this album, but a lot of their previous albums are very heavy on the spoken word kind of poetry for the lyrics.
I mean, that being said, this is still very poetic.
Yes. So okay, so to stop going off on tangents and actually get an organized discussion and thought started here, Micah, since I gave my opinions on how much I love this album in our 2018 Top 10 episode, what did you think of it?
It was surprising since I didn't really know what I was coming into.
Mm-hmm.
I should stop with my cute voice. Like it was. I was surprised.
Yeah. So when you say surprised, like what about it surprised you? Like what weren't you expecting?
Especially since it was called Untitled, I felt like they were super edgy, and like since there's no spaces in their name, and dude, like appearance really is everything. Like the art's really cool, but
yeah, right.
Even though it is also like, I guess appearances still are everything, where it's kind of pretentious. But anyway, it's that kind of art.
I should mention, because you mentioned the art, I should mention that they did have a run of, I believe there was like 5 different vinyl colors, and they had a color for each color on the album art, except for the white.
Mm-hmm.
So they had a black variant, a red variant, a yellow variant, and a blue variant, and I believe the blue is the only one left. Yeah, the blue was the most printed one. The black, red, yellow are sold out.
That's fine. I don't really like yellow that much.
Oh, dude,
personally.
I think it looks pretty good, actually. Like,
I don't like plain yellow. I think it works fine as a compliment.
It looks really cool, like with the album like coming out of the sleeve, because it's like yellow on white. Like, fair. I don't know. But yeah, no, the only copies that look available are the blue copies, but I had to mention that because we do usually try to mention if a band has vinyl for the record we are talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was how this podcast started, and we fail to do that constantly. But
we are pretentious vinyl dipshits.
Yeah, I have a funny story about that for the end. But
anyway.
And so I guess it makes more sense if this is their 7th album and they're relatively successful, but it was produced really well.
Yeah.
Considering sometimes like hardcore bands, like I guess I also was surprised with Cursive because they outwardly sound like a smaller band. So I kind of expect like some rough production sometimes, I guess, which lends itself to the charm of bands like this sometimes.
Right.
Especially when they're new. But no, this was produced fantastic. The layers on everything were really good. And whenever there were harmonies, which is a lot on this album, they really stood out. Like there were a lot of really good leads that followed the vocals, and you could clearly hear it. Yeah.
I will mention, because you mentioned the production of it. While I did have this album in my top 10, and its production is actually really good, there's a couple of points in it where I wish the vocals would have been a little higher, because they sit almost too much. Like they sit almost too well in the mix.
I agree.
Specifically on like the first 2 opening tracks. 9:27 a.m. 7:29. That is such, in my opinion, a strong opening track, because it sets the tone for the rest of the album. Sure. Because it's very aggressive, very screamy right off the bat. Which,
but it's not dark.
No. But like if you've listened to Me Without You, they do scream in their music, but they don't do it like a lot to where it's like expected. Most of their music is either sung or spoken word, but every now and then they will go on to screaming tangents, and there was a lot more screaming on this album than what they have done previously.
Yeah, and I couldn't remember, cause I didn't want to make the statement because I couldn't really remember, so you could probably correct me here. So on that first song, it was very prominent where it was like the lead vocal is currently screaming, you know, but like the music also was like pretty rock oriented around it instead, which is kind of a nice kind of mash together. But then later on, whenever you did hear screaming, a lot of the time it was kind of more as a background vocal,
to like an ambient
support
kind of.
Yeah, like they didn't really focus too much on using screams as the lead vocal too much.
Very flavorful, very good selections on when to actually add the screaming in. For instance, in the lead single, Julia, or Holy to the Lord on the Bells of Horses.
Yeah, like the end of that song, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we were talking about it a lot before we started recording here even, but, like, the way they layer the screams, like, over his sung vocal line towards, like, the end of the song, it gives me goosebumps just, like, even talking about it, because it's such a strong, like, emotional feeling part of the song. Whether or not it's actually, like, meant to be emotional sounding, it is a very strong emotional, like, point in that song for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no.
Oh shit! Was I supposed to pick up? Oh no.
No. It's very hard to like pick things to point out to talk about this album because there's so much going on in it. Like, I will mention a lot of the more specifically spoken word tracks, like Dormouse Sighs, Winter Solstice, Tortoises All the Way Down. Michael, Row Your Boat Ashore. Like Me Without You definitely does come back to what they know and their style of spoken word over very nice, almost ambient backdrop music, like instrumentals.
Yeah.
And I do want to point that out. I do think this album, a lot of the instrumentals, while they do feel very ambient and background noisy, they are very good at setting and maintaining the tone and the mood of the track that they are on.
Yeah, and like even when it gets heavy, it's still like a pretty smooth heavy, I guess. I don't know how to describe it because it's not like, I guess at least for me, I was never like inclined to really head bang, but I still just got like that vibe of like, you know, what like kind of like a climax of a song.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah, they're very.
It's not like in your face heavy.
Right. It's heavy, but it's not like it's not chaotic heavy. It's heavy in a very controlled and a very specific way.
It's still like atmospheric when it does get heavy, I guess.
Yeah. And I do feel like the album gets less heavy as it progresses on. Like it starts off, it's like a day. Like this album is like the opposite of The World Is a Beautiful Place album, to where like this album is like a giant decrescendo where it just starts really loud and gets softer and softer as it goes, as compared to like starting soft and just going until you're blowing out the speakers.
Yeah.
I will say like a couple of my favorite spoken word passages are in either 2,459 Miles or Winter Solstice.
Okay. Yeah, Winter Solstice definitely sticks out to me.
Winter Solstice is actually probably one of my favorite tracks on the album, and I think it's only enhanced by the fact that they released Me Without You before they released the Untitled LP. They released the Untitled EP, which is very similar art. It's like it's a smaller version of the art that's on the Untitled LP, but on the EP they actually have the acoustic version of Winter Solstice. So you actually got to hear the acoustic version of a track that's on the LP before the LP came out.
Yeah, I was really confused by that because like my gut reaction whenever I thought about the album was Untitled EP. So I don't know. That's kind of a weird marketing decision.
Yeah, it's really weird that they have like it's like a sister EP to the LP.
But it's really cool that you get like alternate versions of some songs like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's very hard to like pin down. Like I don't know. It's hard for me to talk about what's really good about this album because I just think everything's good about this album, especially.
Well, what is that everything?
Well, it's just like everything from like I said, the instrumentals that provide a really good background and ambience and flow to the tracks and keep the tracks like tonally and emotionally stable, while also transitioning between different emotions fluently. Like Flee Thou Matadors does it really well, I think, because a lot of the verses are the song is like in a consistent tempo through the entire way, but I feel like the chorus where he says King of Spain and Queen of Portugal, like that whole thing is like very different sounding from the verses.
Yeah.
But it's how so different that it sounds like it doesn't belong.
Yeah. Something I really picked up on listening to it was they really got away with, like normally I would get annoyed at songs that are really repetitive, but he kind of got away with like saying the same thing over and over, because like every repetition, sometimes like the melody would be slightly different, or he would like swap the places of two words, you know? But like for the most part, there was a lot of repetition on a lot of the choruses.
Yeah, and I think that's a lot easier to do in this style of music too, because of the spoken word properties.
And that kind of lends itself to the poetic aspect too, since like everything really did rhyme.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's very, very poetic flow, and just like the prose that's used in the lyrics and the delivery of the lyrics is very, very well done. Like I know you mentioned. Oh God, excuse me. I know you mentioned the. No, I'm burping, but this is all staying. This is all staying in the episode, so that's fantastic. I know you mentioned it when we were listening to it a little bit before recording again, but you mentioned how he pronounces some of his words, and like the delivery, I feel, while sometimes it does sound very strange, it is very deliberate. Yeah, and how he does it. Like, and I know I mentioned that it's, like he has an accent a little bit because he's from Philadelphia. It is still done in a very deliberate way, the delivery, to where it's to sound as natural as possible. But
yeah, well, it's like a voice that you hear in this style of music a lot, I guess. Like at least like he's definitely clearly aware what his voice is going to work for, like what style to sing in, you know?
Right. Yeah, I don't know, dude. Did you have any like songs that specifically stuck out to you that you would like to like discuss a little bit more at length or anything? Like,
no, not really. I agree. Like, cause like the whole album really is an experience, I guess. And, you definitely get a unique experience with the way that everything, like, I feel like everything was sort of a personal story, I imagine, maybe. Almost, or at least they come from a personal place. Cause I know a lot of the lyrics, you probably don't want to touch on it, but they're all very like religious, focused, like at least imagery wise, you know?
Yeah, there's a lot of biblical references, and that's just been a consistent thing throughout the entire discography of this band. So,
and I think that's fair, just because if you're a person trying to write lyrics, that's a fairly easy direction to go, because there are like the verbiage in that always, whether you're religious or not, is very like it incites images in your head or feelings very easily, you know?
Right.
Like Dream Theater do that all the time. Like Petrucci has come out and explicitly said like, yeah, I just went for religious like words here because it incites like a feeling in the listener really easily.
Yeah. Religion is a very like easy way to get a very strong emotional and mental response to a song, because like, you know, whether or not you believe in it, a lot of people do. Like a good majority of the planet does. So it's not like a cop-out way of getting people to relate to the music, but it helps people. Like it makes it easier for people to relate to the music. Yeah. Whether or not like it's intended to like be religious sounding or not, it's very, it's just very good at helping people relate to the song and what's happening.
Absolutely. And, so I think that this album is a unique package that is worth a listen in that sense, just because you're getting feelings and like at least some lyrical content that you wouldn't elsewhere. I feel like it's definitely worth mentioning. You know the really short song at the very end?
Yeah, Break On Through to the Other Side Part 2?
Yeah, I thought that was a little weird. Apparently this motherfucker likes to write sequel songs for fun.
Well, I just like how it's a sequel song to a Doors song. That's my favorite part. That's my favorite part.
Apparently he has a habit of doing that.
I will say that's probably like the one track on this album I wasn't a big fan of.
Like, so actually, that's something I wanted to mention, because like the album flows really well for the most part.
And then Break On Through to the Other Side Part 2 happens.
Well, yeah, because it feels like, what's the song prior? Row Your Boat. What was
Michael, Row Your Boat Ashore.
Yeah. That feels like the end of the album. Like, it's kind of an epic in and of itself. Yeah, like
that song winds down very well.
It starts out quiet, and you're like, rad. It's gonna build up, and it does, and then it winds down, and then there's like a hard cut, and then the last song plays.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much of a fan of that I was, especially since the last song's like a minute.
Yeah, it's really strange too that like they did that there, because I was gonna bring this up earlier, and that's perfect that you mentioned the transition between those two songs, because that yeah, just perfect way to go into this tangent. Perfect transition.
Unlike the album.
No, I was just gonna mention how well, like you said, this album flows throughout most of it, especially between the tracks "Tortoises" all the way down, all the way through Wendy and Betsy.
Mm-hmm.
Like the transitions from Tortoises to 2,459 miles to Wendy and Betsy to New Wine, New Skins. It's so smooth that unless you're paying attention, you won't realize you've gone through 3 tracks until New Wine, New Skin starts.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure I didn't the first time I listened to this.
Right.
So
yeah, this album, do you have anything else like really important you want to touch on, or should we just kind of wrap this up?
Yeah, we can wrap it up. I like that the producer's name is Will Yip, because that's just a funny name. So he did a good job.
Yeah, fun fact, Will Yip is actually the guy producing the new La Dispute album also.
Nice.
So that's why if you listen to the new La Dispute singles, like I mentioned with this Me Without You album, how the vocals kind of fit too well into the mix. You can kind of hear that in the new La Dispute singles too, because it's the same producer and that's his style.
Yeah, that's always a weird...
The vocals really deep into the mix, kind of, almost to the point where they're like unintelligible sometimes.
Yeah, that's a hard give and take, because other times you don't want them to be too high because you don't want them to drown out the instruments, you know? But
right, and I just think it's hard also just on this style of music to do that, to like have a consistent like vocals at a certain volume, because spoken delivery and spoken word delivery is a lot more dynamic and different than singing.
So
because singing, you're like staying at like a relatively similar volume throughout the entire time, but when you're delivering lines in a spoken word fashion, you've got a lot of fluctuation in voice and volume because of your inflections. Yeah,
and then also like whatever emotion you're trying to convey to, like that's going to change. But so I was kind of curious about this. Is it normal for is it like an effort thing on the producers on the producer's part? I don't know why part left my brain to like mix vocals the same throughout entire song, because I did notice, this is going to be, I hope it's not too much of a tangent, it was really interesting that Periphery put out a producer commentary on like how everything was mixed in their new single. And from the sound of it, they really like meticulously changed volumes of everything so it would like fit specific like riffs and moments of the song, you know? Like, is that a lot more effort to do?
It's a lot more, like you said, it's a lot more meticulous, because you can go through and like adjust vocals depending on what you hear in the music and stuff like that. It all just depends on the sound you want to get. Like,
I guess so.
Like you use Periphery as an example for this because of what the producer said. But like that genre of music has always been very like tight production wise, you know what I mean? Like it's always trying to be as clean and as squeaky as possible, like squeaky clean production wise.
I guess so.
So I can understand why in that style of music they would go through and like adjust the volume spikes and the vocals and stuff to fit with the instruments.
They changed a lot of like snare decays for specific moments and everything. Yeah.
Right, yeah, I could see that. Like that makes a lot of sense in that style of music, but in like this more like raw, emotional sounding kind of music, I could see it not mattering as much.
Well, it's just, I mean,
it all just comes down to style and production, like, you know, just your style, I guess. Like, maybe that producer just likes to do that. Like, who knows?
Yeah, I guess that was going to be my fallback, is just, I guess maybe he just prefers to have the vocals fall in with the music like that. But I agree with you where it's like, I kind of wish they would stand out a tiny bit more.
Right.
Yeah. But I guess that's why maybe we should just become producers and make our own hardcore band and just do it. Let's just do it.
Wow, just go ahead and steal my fucking idea.
Let's just write better music than Dream Theater, since we complain so much. Anyway.
Yeah, done. Bet. I have a full album ready to go whenever.
Is it the Turtle one?
What Turtle one?
Or wait, no, is it the Gorilla Paw one?
No.
Did that fall through?
I'm not in that band anymore. Oh,
shit. Oh, fuck. You're right. Can we still steal that idea? It was yours.
I'll talk to Jeremy about it.
All right. So, I would, as
anyway.
a newcomer, I would absolutely recommend this, because it wasn't like an album that, like the Me Without You, Untitled, since we went on such a big tangent, it wasn't like a jarring album at all for a person that's new to the band. I think it's a good entry-level album.
Yeah, I would say that. It's not... very indicative of the band's sound overall. Like if you listen to this album and then go listen to some of their older stuff, you're going to be kind of like caught off guard maybe because a lot of their older stuff is a lot more spoken word heavy, like I mentioned.
But I think that you'd be a little more open-minded if you already like the band.
Sure. Yes. Yeah.
Which is always a fair.
Yeah, no, I would definitely, I mean, obviously I'd recommend this album to anybody and everybody who likes post-hardcore and spoken word poetry and very good imagery in your lyrics and all that interesting stuff like that, especially because it was on my top 10 albums of 2018. Of course, I'm going to recommend this album to like anybody and everybody.
Because you already did.
I did. Yes, correct. Well, and by everybody, I mean the 12 people who listen to this podcast.
I'm one of them.
Yes, you are. Thank you.
You guys suck.
Yeah, no, definitely. I definitely check this album out if you are a fan of post-hardcore, if you are a fan of bands like Law Dispute, if you're a fan of Me Without You and you have not heard this album yet. I don't know why.
Yeah, what the fuck?
But old. Yeah, good album. Came out, like I said, again, just to wrap it up and kind of come back to the first little opening bits of the review section. Came out on Run for Cover Records. It's been out since October 5th. There's vinyl left for it. It's blue. It's pretty. The album's good. Check it out. The mixing's great. We love this album. Micah, what is your favorite track off this album?
Oh, no.
If you have one. If you have one.
Oh, if I have one. Okay.
If you have one. If you had to choose one, which one do you think you would choose?
Let me pull up that track list. Probably Winter Solstice.
Probably Winter Solstice?
Yes.
I can feel that.
It had the strongest main melody for me.
Right. For me, it's probably between Winter Solstice and Julia, just because... I was going to mention this. I forgot to mention it, but they put out a music video for Julia, and it's got a mixture of 1984. Is that the dystopian novel?
Oh, I have no idea.
I think it's 1984. The one about like the cameras watching you everywhere. That novel.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
The music video is like a mixture between 1984 concepts and Back to the Future.
Oh, so like a lot of like surveillance and stuff. Do you mean? Or
it's a good music video. It's like it's like they almost reshot the prom scene from Back to the Future with Me Without You as the band.
Okay.
And then there's a lot of like elements from 1984 that are thrown in there, like constant public surveillance and stuff like that.
So kind of like the music video for Are You Ready by Disturbed?
Sure.
Get up. Are you ready?
I hate you so much, dude.
I'm sorry.
Oh my God. Why'd you have to bring that back into my mind?
I had to confirm.
Wow. Yikes.
But no, that
sounds
neat.
I gotta find a sound clip of that and insert that into this episode right here.
I'm sorry, you have to edit now. Okay.
Nah, I'm not gonna do it.
So yeah, we both love it. Everyone should listen to it. Is there anything new music-wise that you've been digging the last week?
Oh wow, new?
Or just what have you been doing that's different music-wise?
What have I been doing?
If you have.
Well, I mentioned last week I was listening to a lot of Little Peep, and it's real dumb bitch hours right now, and I have not stopped listening to Little Peep for a solid week and a half.
You know, that's fair. Why not?
I don't know. I never gave him a chance before his untimely passing. I never gave his music a chance, and just, I don't know, a month or so ago, I decided, I was like, maybe I should like actually try and give Little Peep a listen through, and that was a mistake because I can't stop listening. Please help.
You dug that hole. You're gonna have to dig up, stupid.
Yeah, whatever, dude. Whatever. Maybe I don't want
to. Get yourself
out. Yeah, no. Have you been checking anything out? You've been doing any good listens? A good
I'm
hearing?
totally not buying time to look at my history to see if there's anything I'm forgetting.
Really quick before you mention your stuff, I should mention. Are we going to do that live stream of the new Dream Theater album next weekend, Micah?
I'd like to.
Did we decide on that? Okay, cool. So then, I will just I will announce that for everybody right now, as if we'll
make a post about it too.
Didn't just do it. Yeah, we'll make a post about it. But we're planning next Saturday, the 23rd. We are planning on doing a live stream review / discussion of the new Dream Theater album, Distance Over Time, also known as Speed.
Velocity.
Velocity.
Michael.
You're right. I saw somebody
Speed
else.
is not a vector.
I saw somebody else call it distance over, or I saw somebody else call it speed, and for some reason that stuck in my head. No, velocity. You're correct.
It's really funny because there's a song called, like, I was wondering, oh shit, I shouldn't. No, I mean, there is a song called Signal to Noise, and I was like,
is that what
I wonder if
S2N stands for?
Yeah, but normally you would represent that by S/N because it's a ratio. Signal to noise is a ratio that you want to like minimize. So, or maximize. Yeah, maximize. Huh. And so I feel like they probably couldn't also call that S/N just because they already had the the fraction and distance over time. Which is funny. Right. Too much science. Stop.
But yeah, so we'll be doing a live listen through / review on our YouTube channel, and then we'll probably be uploading the audio from that to to our other feeds. So if you don't,
that could be technically terrible. So we'll find out.
It will probably be terrible. We are probably going to be awful at discussing things live in live form, but it will be live streamed. We will be on camera. You will get to see our awfully disgusting faces.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, I am. So
you have multiple faces.
Yes. Have you not seen them? Have you not seen them? I'm pretty sure I showed
Is that what winked at me?
Yes.
That Dark Knight.
Oh, I should also mention, along with the Little Peep, I have been listening to Hotel Books. Hotel Books dropped a surprise album on Valentine's Day called "I'll Leave the Light On Just in Case." They are another. It's actually really weird and relevant that we're talking about Me Without You this weekend, because Hotel Books is another one of those spoken word kind of bands. So yeah, they dropped a new album. So if you dig Me Without You, if you're into this kind of music, obviously if you're listening to this episode, you're probably kind of into this music. If you haven't checked out the new surprise Hotel Books album, I'll Leave the Light On Just in Case, that dropped on Valentine's Day this year. Definitely do it. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. So yeah, back to what you've been listening to. What have you been listening to finally?
I can't say because I feel like it'd be a bad influence. So we'll leave it there. But I think there's one band that I forgot to mention that I have been really digging. They're a band that is on hiatus, so they don't really exist at the moment, which sucks, but they're really cool prog-wise. Mandroid Ecostar. They have I don't really like the name that much, but
right, what the hell?
But they're really cool. They're like prog, but a little more on the rocky side, I guess.
Huh.
A lot of really interesting changes. So yeah, my friend Matt directed me towards them, which sucks because I hate when your friend recommends you a band, but they're not an active band.
Yeah, right.
So there's that, and I'm not going to tell you what I have been listening to because that was naughty.
All right. We won't allude anymore. We won't make any self-incriminating evidence.
Pay for your music, kids.
All right. Okay, well, that will do it for this week's.
I guess we're seeing reset the clock again. We're seeing Between the Buried and Me next week.
So okay, that's 2 resets in one episode. Fantastic.
Yep, it was a very short reset. We're gonna see them live on the. I don't know what the tour is. It just the Automata tour?
I believe so. Yeah,
probably.
I believe so.
Yeah, so Astronoid's going to be on that billing. I forgot who the third band is, if there is a third band.
It's not Tesseract, is it?
It is Tesseract.
It is Tesseract. Okay.
I still have not listened to Tesseract like ever.
Yeah, they're all right. They're pretty good. They're I'm pretty sure they're instrumental, but they're like an instrumental like.
No, they have a singer.
Oh, do they?
There's a lot of all I know about them is they have a lot of contention among fans because people prefer certain singers over others. It's very Dance Gavin Dance.
Oh, really? Okay. Huh.
Yeah.
Weird.
I think they've only had one singer switch though.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the reason we're doing the live stream thing, because we will actually be in the same town for once on one of these episodes. Huh.
But yeah.
That'll be the end of this episode. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you want a notification when we go live with that distance over time live review discussion.
We'll also share that info on our Twitter and Facebook at It Sounds Good Pod.
Yep, we will make sure to share that on our social media when we do go live. If you would like to listen in and participate in the discussion, potentially participate. It depends if we decide to read chat or not.
I would, if there are people there. I will.
Yeah, big if true.
Hey man, this could be our breakout thing. You don't know.
Who knows? Our breakout through to the other side, part 2. All right, that was a joke that's just going to end this episode right now.